This episode is brought to you by Extra.Fund, a Dubai-based fully doxed DeFi company. Extra has applied capital protection mechanisms and guarantees that were previously unavailable in the blockchain industry. Their guaranteed fund program is designed to compensate you if the token price drops. The fund will automatically match up to 90% of the initial purchase price. Get over to Extra.Fund for more information about how you can buy, stake, and earn profits no matter what the crypto markets are doing. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis. Who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis? Yeah.
Hola, buenos dias, G&Gs. I am Shrek with 2Ks, and this is another episode of My Two Satoshis. Thanks for the folks who gave the positive, comments and stuff from the last one. And so I am here for another one. Oh, by the way, I am Shrek with 2Ks. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. But basically what I'm looking to focus on this one today is something all 100% crypto, and it's going to be the whole segment actually. So in the space, we have like the decentralized DeFi projects, and then we have the CeFi projects, right? Generally speaking, we kind of always get caught up in talking about exchanges and stuff, but this is not an exchange topic. This is actually something that was brought up in the first video that I did about Helium. Now, if you've been paying attention to, Crypto Blood's channel for a while, or you see me on other things, I've mentioned it here and there on stuff, right? And the comment definitely touched a chord with me because of things that have been going on right now. So I'm gonna get into this on the end of my two Satoshis and give y'all a little bit of I'm gonna say truth bomb about something. One of the things that was used to really push in general money aspect, the paper chase, the speculative side of this crypto space is like, oh, if you do this or if you do that, it's going to be passive income. And so that was really a big part of the narrative for Helium when it first came out. And honestly, I was definitely one of those people that was into that part of the narrative because I did not fully understand the aspect of the technology behind it, and then what would be required to make this type of, let's say, system proliferate. And understandably, like the mining part was the part that everyone, kind of got, or it's like, well, it's like, regular mining, like Bitcoin mining, like Ethereum mining. No, it's not. There is a number of times that I've heard people say stuff like, oh, well, it's a Wi-Fi thing. It is not a Wi-Fi thing. It is a radio-based technology that does have a internet Wi-Fi component of technology to it, but the main part of what it does and how it communicates and the consensus mechanism is based on the radio signal part of the technology. But I'm not getting into like the deep end of the tech part of it. Also, this is not financial advice. This is definitely not a technical breakdown. This is going to be my two Satoshis on just putting in some context for those of you who have been in for a bit, or if you just are starting to hear about it and come into it. I'm gonna put into context how the narrative of passive income does not actually apply to Helium. And I'm gonna break down why. It initially came out, and this is the website right here. If you've been in for a bit, you know that they've definitely done some updating on how the website looks. They've also done it where they've changed out some of the ways that the system actually functions, right? So here is the current and kind of past setups. This was actually the original miner and what it looked like, and depending on what route you went, if you went directly through Helium or through some of the other partners, it might have been called something else, right? And then they came out with this one, and then like these right here are some of the new vendors that are on board right now. Now, if you came in like 2021, you came in when we had the logistics crisis issue, and you had to deal with the whole thing of waiting, I want to say like minimum 4 or 5 months to get something. I can honestly say I waited like 8 months to get one time, and not getting lost into that part of it. The basic part of what I'm trying to say here is if you do not take the time to actually understand some of the basic parts of how this thing goes, or at least engage within the community. Find the YouTube channels of the people who are talking about this and explaining it. The Discord channel is 100% active. So shout outs definitely to the Discord folks in the Helium community user base. And I'm saying it from the end of like the vendors to the people who are on the validator stuff, the people who are the regular minor node part people, and just like folks who are, holding the token and stuff. Very active community. The next point of where I want to go is that if you have not taken the time, and if you're just looking at this as it's a bag flip, oh, I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna grab some miners, and then I'm gonna flip it, I'm gonna double sell it or whatever, or I'm just gonna grab some and then like throw them up at my aunts, cousins, uncles, nephews, nieces, I got extra properties. Again, if you ain't taking the time to understand how the actual technology works, at least in basics in regards to even the radio antennas, in regards to what's going on right now with the POC updates. This last POC update, was it POC 11? When I tell you it wreaked havoc in the whole network. It wreaked havoc. And then you have the people who are doing the gamification stuff. Oh man, like there's even a point where it turns out that they were doing a blacklist of minors, and it wasn't a public thing that was said. And a couple of people did some, digging or whatever, and kind of speculated, and then they finally fessed up about it. Again, not financial advice. What I'm trying to make the point of here is, if you are not taking the time to interact in the community, get some base understanding of the technology, because this is not Wi-Fi. The Helium miner itself is not Wi-Fi. It's not even where it is right now made for retail level use. It's made for commercial level use. So you can't grab your phone and try to, do some surfing on it by connecting to it. It's not there. That's not even what it's initially designed for. As far as going forward, I think a lot of folks who are just coming in thinking they're going to either wait it out for 12 months and they could get their, flip back or their ROI on it. This is a technology situation. This is not a price speculation situation. If the tech doesn't work the way that they're intending for it to work, as far as how it is going to be a new medium of communication for the transfer of data packets. If you are paying attention to anything going on right now on the technical side, and I've seen this in multiple cities. I was in Denver last week. I was in Miami a couple of weeks ago, been in New York, been in Virginia, here in Maryland, and a number of other places, New York and all. All of these cities are doing things to upgrade their ability to transfer information. I seen radio towers popping up everywhere. This particular technology, as far as how IoT is going to be proliferated throughout the rest of this decade, in my opinion, from a technical standpoint, this technology seems like it will be in a well position to be a part of that. Again, this is not financial advice. This is me trying to put into context of, if you are looking at Helium and you're thinking it is just a quick flip, I strongly deter you from looking at the actual miner route, because if you're not going to do X amount of the work that is required to understand the baseline of the technology, again, it is a combination of internet and radio signal. It's not even for you to be able to connect in with your phone. And so there's a whole nother thing that goes to that. If you're not going to engage in the community to understand what's going on when the new POCs come up, which is when they're basically deciding on what to do with the software upgrades, or if there even should be one on a particular subject. So like right now, what's going on is the, POC 55 about going into light miners, which is going to change for all the people who had the original miners that were based on a Raspberry Pi. It's not going to have all of the same functions anymore and not need to do the same amount of work or require the same amount of power. But there's already an issue in regards to how much, quote, you will earn in the tokens, right? And that's where everybody's kind of looking at. Again, not financial advice, but I'm trying to drive home the point of, if you have one or two now and you don't understand what the difference is between a directional antenna and an omnidirectional antenna, or if you have one of the older systems and you don't know about your SD card or those little things, you might want to take the time out to figure out, do you really want to push forward on this? Just saying, it's a couple 100,000 that are like live on the network and in the pipe work, globally speaking. I was listening to a Q&A, AMA thing the other day. As a matter of fact, let me show y'all. This guy right here, Armand, he's one of the minor operators. Like, he's done his own thing and hosting stuff. So shout out to him and what he was doing on his channel. And he did an AMA thing and they were talking to some of the vendors and like some of the core team people. And I'm gonna say it this way, there is more information now for you to be able to figure out, do you want to deal with the technical aspects of this by operating your own miner and then expanding out to build out your own network? If you don't give two craps about the technical side of this, or you are already frustrated from things going on like the relay that you haven't been able to figure out in your system, or your SD card got burnt out and like you don't even know what the SD card is, you might want to reevaluate your position in this whole thing. Just saying. Like, one of the things I think that will happen in this particular scenario when it comes to this C5 project that is in relation to mining and the type of mining that they do and what they're looking to do with their technology and, you know, in the bigger picture of things, I think that at a certain point, probably another year or two, this might actually move in the way of how mining as we know it now in Bitcoin and stuff like that, where you have the farms and you have people who buy in shares, like where it's more streamlined, it's more easier of, oh, I just have money, you know, take my money, I want this. We're not there yet though. Like right now, we're not there yet. Then there's a whole thing about the validators. What does it mean to, how much does it cost now to be a validator versus what it was like 8 months ago? Whole different ballgame. And then of course there's the whole thing of like how it works here in the US jurisdiction versus like what's going on in Europe versus what's going on in Asia versus what's going on in Latin America. It's definitely a little bit more to it. And at the end of the day, bottom of the line, Helium for the mining side of it is not a passive income project. It does require some work. Most people who have one, let me say two, if you have two miners, right, you will end up getting frustrated. Helium as it works now is still a work in progress. If you just got in over the last, let's say, 6 months, guess what? You in the midst of the growing pains. If you was in at the beginning of this year, you know a little bit more than the folks who just got in the last couple of months. If you are getting frustrated with what's going on, I mean, honestly, it's further along than where it was in 2020. So, you know, it's trade-offs. The point I wanted to make about this thing is CFI is, in this particular case of passive income, it's just a marketing ploy. And I'm not knocking the project. I'm not trying to say, oh, you know, the coins ain't worth it. I'm just trying to say, if you are looking at it from the mining perspective of getting one of those miners, if you are not about understanding some of the base technical parts of this, it might not be your cup of tea. Because I know a number of people who got in last year who aren't here now, like bottom line. Nonetheless, I'm not trying to beat the horse dead. This is not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. You do what you do for whatever your situation is. I don't know what that is, but you know, that's my 2 Satoshis on this whole thing. I'm gonna bring it to a close on that and say thank you to Crypto Bluff for allowing me to be on, and definitely say something about, you know, if you want to see me do some more stuff. Oh, by the way, this particular episode or this segment of My 2 Satoshis is brought to you by Cigar Recon. and check out the website if you are into smoking. So I'm a recent convert into the whole, putting the smoke in the air. I'm talking about cigars. I'm not the 420. Sorry, we all know how that go. And Blood is always smoking. We got somebody that we know in the space who has their own line out, and that is Cigar Recons. And so check out the website. If you're about that smoke, then check out the website. It's a good line, and you can pay in crypto for it. Again, this is what it is right here. Cigar Recon. Check it out. This is the end of my 2 Satoshis. Until the next one, y'all. Productive over busy, man. P over B. 1.